Hello, I'm Dan Corredor with the Strategic CFO. We're a consulting firm focused on solving problems for many businesses. I'm here today with our guest, Art Getz, who's a business owner himself and client. Art, thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for having me. It's funny, us business owners, we all get wrapped in the weeds about day-to-day operations and stuff. And one of the easiest things to overlook is accounting. In fact, I do my best to avoid accounting at all costs. But then problems come up, like I needed a loan and I couldn't get qualified for the loan because I didn't have the financial statements, I didn't have the books properly. It worked great for me, the checkbook balance, but I needed more and I didn't know where to turn. I didn't have an accounting department of my own. I was relying on my tax preparation guy as my accountant, and then I met Dan and he pointed out to me the problems with what I was doing and how we could solve it and actually grow our business by adding in this new function, this new accounting department using his NearSourcing model.
Thank you, Art. So usually companies grow and they either start with a basic accounting package like QuickBooks, a lot of clerical work, and that's fine. Everybody starts the same way, but eventually you need more than clerical financial statements. Usually clerical financials are based on cash basis and there's no accounting principles applied. The difference between bookkeeping and accounting is in accounting we actually take those transactions and apply accounting principles that are given to us through generally accepted accounting principles in the US. We apply those principles to those transactions and come up with really good, solid financial statements. Most companies that are smaller can't even afford that because it's costly to hire a controller, a CPA, an accounting manager in the US. On top of salaries, benefits, wages, taxes. So a company like yours, that's a tough thing to swallow.
So what is the point of having good financial, what did you call them?
Financial statements.
Financial statements.
Yes.
Why would a business even care about having good financial statements if the checkbook balances and there's money in the account at the end of the month, I'm making payroll, why do I need that?
Well, because unfortunately, just because you have cash in the bank doesn't mean you're doing well, right? And if your business changes trajectory, if margins are being, declining, if there's a change in the industry, if there's a change in pricing or cost, your cash balance is not going to tell you that. And we do run into those business owners that they feel comfortable because there's plenty of cash in the bank.
Yeah, right.
But they're running their business based on gut feel. They don't actually know what happened last month. They don't know what their margins are. So what good set of financial records and financial statements, which is your balance sheet, your income statement, your cash flow statement, based on US GAAP, what they do, they provide a financial tool for you. So you're able to look at those with the assistance of someone like us or a solid controller, look at those and analyze and determine what is my margin? Am I making money on this? If you have them more than one product or service, you may be making money on one and losing on the other. And the net is cash in the bank. But do you want to continue losing money on the other? Right? So those are things that we talk about. But in addition to being a tool for running your business, it's also something you need long term. If you want to go to the bank and borrow money, first thing they ask you for is financial statements. If you want to go raise money, raise capital, bring in a partner, if you want to sell your business, where's your balance sheet? What's your income statement? What's your EBITDA, which is your earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization? These are all things that you need to know, and you'll know if your business is financially healthy. It's no different than going to the doctor and getting an annual checkup, except this we do monthly. It's a monthly checkup on your business. Is your business financially healthy? Do I have the right margins to sustain it? If I'm high growth, do I have enough working capital in my business? We've seen more than one client with millions and millions of sales coming through their sales department and they could barely make payroll because they're upside down in their working capital. So again, a bookkeeping service, a clerical service is not going to be able to tell you that. They just enter a transaction and push a button in the system. You have to have accounting principles, but we want to do it cost effectively. We've run into this, we've come to learn that we've passed on a lot of business because we had a lot of smaller companies approach say, well, we want that, we just can't afford it. Right? And that's where the concept of NearSourcing kind of grew from a need for smaller businesses. But as we applied this and as the word got out, we now found out that our NearSourcing model applies to any business in any industry and actually in any country. We thought it was for smaller businesses. Well, we've got businesses that are $50 and $70 million that have signed up for our NearSourcing model. They do that because they want to save money. They could afford to hire somebody here locally to be in their office, but under the NearSourcing model, we're able to provide that same or better quality of financial records and accounting financial statements based on US GAAP at a 60% savings. So it's got to be attractive to anyone. We all want to save money. Most companies look at accounting as an overhead cost.
Yeah, most people don't think of accounting as a profit center, that's for sure.
It's not a profit center, but a good accountant should be able to save money for the business. If we're able to analyze margins, identify waste, identify inefficiencies, improve how we collect our receivables, improve how we manage cash, we're actually adding to the bottom line, and we're adding to cash flow by simply improving our cash flow cycle.
So this may be a bad analogy, but it sounds like, I'm thinking about this analogy between driving a car or flying an airplane, that if you don't have good controls and ways to tell what's going on with your airplane, you might crash before you ever even knew you were near the ground.
Well, that's accurate. The way I describe it is, if you don't have good accounting and good financial records, you're sailing your boat blindly. You're sailing into the night blindly. Yeah, you're hoping for the best. You got cash in the bank. Hopefully things turn out.
Or it could cost them a couple of turns of earnings on a buyout. If somebody shows up to buy the business, they might get a 4 times earnings instead of a 6 times earnings.
That's right.
That turns into real money.
That's right. And unfortunately, the cost of having that, the cost in the U.S. of having solid financial statements and a solid accounting department is expensive. We had, the business model came about because of an existing client that we were supplying the accounting department. We were providing the 2 professionals and a controller and accounting manager, but we're billing them $23,000 a month, and our margin was insignificant. The client's complaining about the cost, and the employees want a raise. It's a lose-lose situation everywhere you go. And that's where I went back to the drawing board and said, how do we fix this? And we came up with NearSourcing. So what NearSourcing is we provide the accounting department, and it's usually a team of 2, somebody at the controller level, somebody at the accounting manager level, and that team is a dedicated accounting team to your business. There's a couple things I don't like about outsourced accounting, and a lot of companies provide that service. One is there's a complete disconnect between the accounting department and operations. And I'm a big believer that the accounting department should be very close to operations. The other thing is companies that do outsourced accounting usually have the accounting department work on multiple clients because they've got to work on more than one, otherwise they're not making money. Our teams are dedicated to your business. They're virtually present in your office at your work hours, and they're very connected to the business because during the onboarding process, they are physically in your business. And on a quarterly basis, they are physically present in your business. We bring them up, and they're in your business 3 to 5 days at the end of the quarter to do a quarterly review.
It's got to be important for your accountant to understand the business. Otherwise, how could they spot problems 100%. like maybe the shipping department doesn't let the billing department know for a week that they sent the customer's order back and nobody generated an invoice.
100%.
That could kill your cash flow.
And unfortunately, as accountants, our human nature is to live in our little box of, little cubicle of debits and credits and not get involved with the business. So we train our people to understand the business, get involved with the business, learn how to talk to the people in sales, in procurement, in operations, because there's got to be a tight connection. So all the work is supervised by one of our controllers here in the Houston office. So there's that connection. It's no different from having your accounting department down the hall in another office. They just happen to be on the screen. Anybody in your company that you want talking to the accounting department simply hits join meeting, and the accounting department's there. They only work for you. The reason we're able to save you 60% is because they happen to be located south of the border in Mexico. They're usually in one of the major cities. We have built teams now for 6 companies and 1 major oil and gas company. And this dedicated model allows them to be present. We're able to provide the quality. Most of our accountants have come from Big 4 accounting firms in Mexico. They're in our time zone, which is another big issue.
I asked you once before, how do you come up with all these great accounting people? Why aren't they getting sucked up by all the big companies? And how is it that you're able to find them? And you told me a story about a company that actually laid off a bunch of people in Mexico.
Right. Well, the whole connection to Latin America is because of my background and my experience. First 15 years of my career was in Latin America, so I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of accountants. I worked with all the big four companies in Latin America and Mexico, so I got to meet English-speaking, solid professionals. But in addition to the network and who to call, knowing who to call, in Monterey, there was a company who shut down their accounting department and laid off 100 people. Well-trained, good speaking English, and solid professionals that provide good work. Because the different economies, we're not going to pay U.S. salaries, so and that's okay. So we're able to provide this package, this team of 2 accountants, at a 60% savings when you compare to U.S. wages. So what started for us back in October as a solution for a small business has now turned into a solution for any business, because we have scaled this up. Now our clients range from 5 million to 70 million, with an exception that I'll talk about in a second. So those are nice sized businesses, but they either didn't have an accounting department and couldn't afford it, or they had an accounting department and just want to save money. They want to save 60%. So we're able to transition and onboard those clients. Our largest client happens to be a multi-billion-dollar global business in oil and gas services. And that came about because we were just chatting, and I know some of the executives over there, and told them what I was doing, and they asked me, can you scale it up? And I said, absolutely. Make a long story short, we have opened up an office in Monterey only for this client, and we've got 10, 12 now accountants, and it's growing probably to 20 and 30. But this is a dedicated group to our large client that provides intercompany accounting, accounts payable, cash application, different accounting functions at tremendous savings. We've checked the box and got rid of the issues that we don't like with outsourced accounting, and we're able to provide these accounting teams to these businesses. And again, because you're part of the Strategic CFO family, if you join us under our NearSourcing business model, you get a lot more than just a couple of accountants that are going to provide financial statements. You get the support of our entire firm. So we have CFOs in the firm, we have controllers in the firm, we all know all the clients, and you get the support of our firm from that perspective as well. So a lot of times our clients don't have a CFO, for example, and they sign up for our NearSourcing. They got our team working, everything's going great, but the business owner is having a bank meeting, wants me to tag along to talk about a line of credit. Well, I'll come along, I already know his financials, and I'm not going to charge him for that hour that I'm there, an hour and a half, talking to the banker, because we treat him as part of the family for Strategic CFO.
So you get to pull a professional off the bench, plug them in, use them for your company as needed, and then turn them back and give them back to the Strategic CFO when you don't need them, and your accounting department is there online, on time, every day, in the office, waiting for you and helping you create this operating function inside your business that looks just like a big company, but it can even work for your smaller company.
That's correct. The onboarding process, it depends on the company. It depends on the complexity of your business. It depends on your accounting records. Are they clean, ready to go, or is there some cleanup required? We can help with the cleanup to get you onboarded and transition to NearSourcing. We'd love to talk to you more about it. Our webpage, www.strategiccfo.com. There's 2 C's in the middle. My email address, dcorredor, that's DCORREDOR, @strategiccfo.com. Or call me on my cell phone, 713-501-7481. But I'm sure we can provide professional solution and save you a lot of money.
The bottom line is, I think, don't wait until your business is in crisis. Do something about it proactively. Get in touch with Dan, have him come in and talk to you about your business, what's going on, and how maybe they can help in a proactive stance, as opposed to waiting until you have a crisis or a need, and then it's probably going to be a little bit too late to really get the full effect of having a strategic CFO and a team on your business.
So thank you very much, Art. Thank you for
Thanks,
joining.
Dan, appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Take care.